Hey guys, Jim here again, and this week I'm bringing you guys another MMA fight prediction video for the UFC 185's Lightweight Championship main event that features the most exciting champion in the UFC today back in action when current UFC Lightweight Champion Anthony Showtime Pettis defends his championship opposite of #1 contender Rafael Dos Anjos and what should be another lightweight showcase in Texas. I will give you guys a short fight profile as well as a full fight breakdown of the two fighters and who I've ultimately winning and walking away with that UFC Lightweight Championship around their waist. Now without further ado, let's get some. Pettis, Dos Anjos. Here we go. Heading into his lightweight championship rematch against Benson Henderson at UFC 164, Anthony Pettis was riding a 3-fight win streak that included a split decision victory that he wrestled away from Jeremy Stephens, a spectacular head kick KO over Joe Lozon, follow it up, a body kick destruction TKO victory over top contender Donald Cowboy Cerrone. And when the bout got underway between Ben Henderson and Anthony Pettis for the second time, it was nothing like the first time when we had a back and forth battle. Instead, you had Ben making it a very grappling clinch fight early on. However, Anthony turned that around. There was about 1 minute and 41 seconds left on the clock in the first round. Flipped the switch and tagged him with at least 4 solid body kicks, although he did wind up on his back when he went for that cartwheel kick and Ben was on top of him, but Pettis reversed that into an armbar and made him verbally submit in the very first round, thus becoming the UFC Lightweight Champion and making his record between him and Henderson 2-0. Unfortunately, due to injury, he had to take a full year off from competition until UFC 181 when he went one-on-one with former Strikeforce lightweight champion and his fellow Ultimate Fighter coach El Nino Gilbert Melendez. Gilbert Melendez was able to set the pace, lock Pettis down, control him in the clinch, get in some good body shots, score 2 out of his 3 takedown attempts on Anthony Pettis. And every time that Anthony would try to escape a mount off any offense, Melendez would go in there and neutralize his game. That said, when it finally hit the second round, everything changed because Melendez got more reckless. Pettis was able to land a beautiful front kick to Gilbert, as well as a nice right hand that rocked Melendez and allowed Pettis to sync up that guillotine choke and become the first man to stop Melendez and defend his championship successfully for the very first time. And now, he must go one-on-one with #1 contender Rafael Dos Anjos, who, after a tough, lopsided, unanimous decision loss to Khabib Nurmagomedov, reeled off 3 straight wins with a second-round TKO victory over Jason High, as well as the biggest victory of his career up to this point against former UFC lightweight champion Ben Henderson, who he knocked out with a beautiful left hook in the very first round. In addition to that, when you thought it couldn't get any better for RDA, he goes in there and dominates and grinds Nate Diaz to a 15-round unanimous decision with leg kicks, wrestling, top control, and elbows and ground and pound. Moreover, after that win, he was awarded his title shot against Anthony Pettis at UFC 185, and I know Rafael Dos Anjos will love nothing more than to take that belt off of Anthony Pettis and bring it back to Brazil. However, that's easier said than done, and Anthony Pettis has no plans of giving that belt up to anybody anytime soon and has his sights set on making an example out of Rafael Dos Anjos to retain his championship for the second time in typical Showtime fashion. Alright now, let's break it down. We're looking at the two best lightweights in the world in our little tail of the tape here. It's obvious that Anthony Pettis takes the height. He's 5'10". Rafael's 5'9", 1 inch difference there. Anthony also enjoys a 1 inch reach advantage over him too, because he has a 72 inch reach, while RDA has a 71 inch reach. Cardio wise, they're both solid, but Anthony does have more experience going 5 rounds than Rafael Dos Anjos does. For the stand-up aspect of this fight, from a finishing standpoint, Anthony Pettis edges Rafael Dos Anjos by 7 knockouts compared to RDA's 4 knockout victories. And while RDA is no slouch on the feet, he's got excellent Muay Thai, good movement and transition, powerful hooks that have sent both George Soteropoulos and Ben Henderson straight to the canvas, and some nasty inside leg kicks. However, in comparison to a right-handed southpaw, taekwondo, and kickboxing counter specialist like Anthony Pettis, his stand-up looks rather ordinary. Besides that, Anthony Pettis, better technique, he's quicker, far more agile, creative. Furthermore, his kicks to the body are far more detrimental to his opponents. After all, he made Cowboy Cerrone fall over after that leg kick clinic he put on him. In addition to that, he's very good for switching stances, as well as using the cage as a springboard to go up for even more dangerous dynamic attacks like that Showtime spin kick or that Showtime knee. Beyond that, his head kicks are very Crow Cop-esque in that, yes, right kick hospital, left kick, your ass is knocked the fuck out. Hell, just ask Joe Lozon or Danny Callisto. Nonetheless, even if you close in on him and get past his kicks, you're still not safe. As we saw in the Gil Melendez fight when Pettis cracked him with that counter right hand. Additionally, Pettis does have 3 TKO victories via punches, and he's actually made 2 opponents submit to strikes. Now, jumping forward to the wrestling aspect of this fight, I know this is where Rafael Dos Anjos is going to look to proactively attack Pettis in this fight the most, given that he's a far better wrestler than him, better takedown defense. Moreover, he was able to take down some good strikers like Donald Cerrone, Anthony Andrew Kawani, along with great grapplers such as Gleison Tebow, Mark Bocek, and Jason. And then when you look at the success that Clay Guida had when he shut down Anthony Pettis, as well as most recently when Gil Melendez was able to use his wrestling skills to neutralize his game and kill his momentum in the first round of their title fight. So it's easy to see that Rafael Dos Anjos will have some success in that department against Anthony Pettis. That said, Anthony Pettis has definitely made some adjustments to deal with that aspect of his game. He did out-wrestle Jeremy Stephens for 2 rounds to take a unanimous decision over him. He stopped some of Ben Henderson's takedowns. Additionally, took his ass down in the process. And besides that, even if you take him down, he will get right back up to his feet. Or he will submit you from the bottom, because his jiu-jitsu is off the charts and he's a murderer off his back. Even though I give the overall edge, in wrestling to RDA, it's still not going to be a cakewalk for him. Because can he take him down? Yes. Can he keep him down? That's another question. Last but not least, for the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu aspect of this fight on the ground, Rafael Dos Anjos is a black belt. Anthony Pettis is a brown belt. Both guys have 8 submission victories to their credit, although Anthony only has 5 legit submission victories on his record. Nevertheless, each man is very good at ending a fight via submission as well as defending them. However, I find that Rafael Dos Anjos submitting the Kamal Shalrusas and Terry Adams of the world not as impressive as submitting two former champions that are at black belt level, like the way Anthony Pettis submitted Ben Henderson and Gil Melendez. So for that reason, I give the submission edge to Anthony Pettis. Now come fight night, I don't see the title changing hands, since other than Rafael Dos Anjos utilizing more elbows and his nasty inside leg kicks and his strategy of smothering and grinding out Pettis through a unanimous decision, he doesn't bring anything to the table that Anthony Pettis has not seen or experienced inside that octagon.
Despite the fact he might claim he can knock out Anthony Pettis, that's all for show.
Because it's such a different experience when you're inside there with him that he will be thinking takedown. And I'm not delusional. He will be able to take some rounds away from Pettis, close the distance, press him up against the cage in the clinch, get in some good dirty boxing and body shots, take him down to the mat. Also, look to take away his mobility and one of his strongest assets in the fight game, his legs with some inside leg kicks. But the question becomes, how long can he maintain his pressure and control over Anthony Pettis? For 25 minutes, I'm not so sure he can do that. The longer the fight goes, the more it leans into Pettis' favor, because he only needs one round to put Rafael Dos Anjos away. Rafael needs 25 minutes to get the job done against Pettis. And once Pettis has an idea of what this guy brings to the table, how hard he hits, how fast his takedowns come, and what direction he's looking to go in his attack, Pettis will dissect him. He will torture his body with body kicks. He will check his leg kicks. And yes, his wrestling is superior to Pettis's, but it's not exactly Khabib Nurmagomedov's. So when he does take him down, he will get right back up to his feet or look to submit him from underneath. Beyond that,
Get him within range to fake him and catch him off guard and end the fight with another spectacular, show-stopping left high kick.
or if he wants to go a little showtime and use that cage as a springboard,
hit him with a Showtime spin kick to stun him, as well as some follow-up ground and pound to finish him.
So my official prediction for this fight, Anthony Pettis retains his championship, either knockout or submission, in what should be another showcase of his awesome skills. Nonetheless, he will go on to face the winner of the lightweight #1 contendership fight between Khabib Nurmagomedov and Donald Cowboy Cerrone later this year, while Rafael Dos Anjos will have to get himself on another win streak to work his way back up to another title shot against the champ. Now this will do it for this fight prediction. I'll see you guys for the next one. Jim signing off.